Politico ran a very interesting article here. Biden admin officials see proof their strategy is working in hostage deal. Some Biden administration officials quietly say the hostage exchange agreement is the clearest signal yet that its strategy toward the Israel-Hamas war is working. Interesting interpretation. Under the breakthrough deal, 50 women and children will be released by Hamas in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners, women and teenagers held by Israelis. A 4 to 5 day pause would allow them a safer transfer and ease the delivery of life-saving aid to suffering Palestinians in Gaza. Amid so much wreckage and chaos, the hostage deal, which was finalized late Tuesday, might prove a rare bright spot in a dark time. 3 U.S. administration officials said there's no explicit victory lap to take, as around 200 hostages will stay behind in Hamas's grasp, and it would be uncouth to celebrate any win after Hamas killed 1,200 people on October 7th, leading Israel to forcefully respond with a military campaign that Hamas-led health ministries claimed killed more than 13,000. I believe that claim is up over 14,000 by now. But all suggested President Joe Biden shouldn't shy away from what the policy has accomplished to date. It's vindication, said one of the officials early Tuesday before the deal was finalized, but there's more to do. The Biden administration insists that Israel has an obligation to defend itself, but should minimize civilian harm in the process. Over recent weeks, the U.S. worked to get 100 aid trucks a day into Gaza from Egypt and is in touch with humanitarian groups on how to further alleviate the suffering of Palestinians in the enclave. Now, watch how they bury the lead here. But the administration remains wary about Netanyahu's endgame and seeming lack of a plan for what to do once Hamas is defeated. There was no sense that the pause would turn into a lengthier ceasefire, a senior administration official said, and there was some concern, listen to this sentence, and there was some concern in the administration about an unintended consequence of the pause, that it would allow journalists broader access to Gaza and the opportunity to further illuminate the devastation there and turn public opinion on Israel. That's a hell of a sentence to place midway through an article with a headline that makes no reference to that whatsoever. So what they are writing here in this piece, which, like I said, you can see the headline there, no mention of that at all, that it was a widespread concern inside the Biden administration that a pause in violence would make it safe enough for journalists to go and report on the situation on the ground in Gaza. So part of the reason why you didn't want to pause is because you didn't want reporters to feel secure enough to go in there and get the word out about what it's like in Gaza? Because that seems like an awfully consequential bit of news to bury halfway into an article like that.
Yeah, sometimes these scumbags, because they live in this bubble where they only talk to each other, every now and then they tell the truth by accident because they're so sociopathic, they don't realize that it makes them look bad.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me. Like, they thought that was just filler.
Right. Well, because the kind of fucking zombies who absorb that Washington speak at face value, that makes total sense. It's optics, right? They're talking about optics, of course. Of course, you want the optics to be good. You don't want to wound the president, and those morons who vote, they might misinterpret the situation because they're not adults. They don't know real politics. They don't know that this is what happens in war and Israel has to defend itself, right? Like you can't show them that because they'll misinterpret it as a horrific crime against humanity.
Right.
They might think about it that way or something. So yeah, no, every now and then that happens. That, like when Wolf Blitzer on the air said, well, you know, if we cut back on military spending, that's a lot of jobs.
Right. Right, exactly.
You know, every now and then they give away the game without thinking about it because they're just used to talking to people who would never think there was anything wrong with that kind of an observation.
Please clap.